You're,
Yo, what up?
how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Good, just got home.
Yeah. So you were at the beach, right?
Yeah, I'm burnt. I don't know if you noticed.
I
I'm
was
a
gonna
little.
say, yo, you got like your face is fucking red as shit.
Yeah, yep,
Enjoy it, man. Enjoy
yeah.
it.
Gotta clear your mind a little bit. That's what the
Dude,
beach does.
I know that all too well. All right, so we got you in here. That's good. Thank God. I appreciate everybody hopping in. So this is Waves Wednesday, episode 3. Super excited about this one. Got the good homie Charles Infamous in here. If anybody that's in the live right now doesn't know who he is, number one, you need to check him out, shoot him a follow, and check his music out as soon as possible. One of the dopest rappers that I've encountered in a long time, if ever, in terms of fucking just like rapping in the pocket, man. Like you are, I feel like you probably talk in the pocket. Yeah, so he makes extremely great music. He's from where I'm from, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I think he grew up in Lancaster. I'm from like 30 minutes from here in Lebanon, but have lived in Lancaster for like 10 years. But yeah, so he's a hip hop artist from Lancaster. Please check him out. Please check his music out. He just dropped a new single, Jukebox, that was on NBC's Songland, which is probably just fucking awesome hearing that your song from NBC Songland.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But yeah, so anyways, just a little intro there. This is episode 3, Charles Infamous. Check him out. Phenomenal music. Excited to have you on, man. First off, I just appreciate you taking the time to sit around and have a conversation with me.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me on, for real.
Dude, of course, man. Of course. So I guess first off, how's your quarantine been?
It's been really productive, to say it. I mean, obviously it sucks. It's quarantine, but I just been making music, and when I'm not making a song, I'm making a beat. And when I'm not making a beat, I'm mastering one of my songs. When I'm not mastering one of my songs, I'm making the cover art for one of my songs. So it's just been
yo, you're a one-stop shop.
You have to be nowadays. I know you are too. So.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, not as much. As you were rattling all those off, I was almost like beating myself up mentally. I'm like, damn it, I need to start like messing around with like Adobe. Damn it, I need to like start fucking with Photoshop, because you got it all.
Oh, word.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And I see you're living in the room studio right now, right? I see the pads on the
wall. Yes, this is the place where it all happens.
Hell yeah, that's amazing. And that's like your bedroom, right? Like you're in your bedroom?
Yeah.
Where you at? You literally live in the studio, man. I respect it.
Absolutely. What's your where do you record, actually?
Yeah, great question. A lot of people have no idea. So I record. Where in Lancaster do you live? Like, you don't need to give me like the fucking coordinates, but.
Well, now I live in what I call the ends.
The end, yeah. So
ends. But obviously I lived in Millersville for 4 years, but near Ephrata.
We're repping out here, you know.
Yeah.
Do you have one of these?
This is
the intramural champion T-shirt. So I guess that's like a subtle, pathetic flex that I was on an intramural championship athletic team.
That is a flex, though. My girl has one of those shirts.
Oh yeah.
Her basketball team.
Nice.
And Mondo, SSOHB, he got one of those too.
Okay, word. So where in Lancaster do you live now, so that you're not in Millersville? Are you still in Lancaster?
Yeah, I'm still in Lancaster County. I'm over by Ephrata.
Oh, by Ephrata. So, okay, so I'm in Lidditz. So actually, we're probably not far from each other.
Yeah, that's like short little drive up 222.
Yep, you got it, man. People are gonna start showing up. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so we're not far from each other. But yeah, anyway, so where I record. So I met one of my best friends, his name's Eric, at Millersville, actually. I'm just gonna start asking you random questions about college, since we went to the same college. What dorm did you stay in the dorms at all?
I stayed in South Suites for 1 year, and then I was like, I can't do this. I gotta live in an apartment.
Do you live in like wellness apartments, or you live like all?
I lived in Brookwood for 2 years, and then I lived in Cartledge for the last year of my college.
Okay, my fiance lived in Cartledge for a year. Did you live in the old Brookwood or the new Brookwood, or was it all new when you were there?
It was all new.
See
like
that?
when I got there.
I'm showing my age. Yeah,
My mom went to Millersville too. She's an education major like you.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
not a music major. I wasn't a music major at all.
yeah, dude, me either. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not like classically trained in really anything at all. But yeah, so I record. So I met my friend Eric at Millersville. He lives over, oh, man. If you know where they put the new sheets in over by Millersville.
Yeah.
He lives right over there off Wabank Road, off of Wabank
Okay.
Road, if you're familiar with that. So we built a home studio in his basement a while back. So I record there, but now that like since I haven't been able to see him for like several months now, which is crazy to even think we've been in quarantine for like numerous months. I like bought actually like I think you texted me or like we messaged about like the microphone that I had. So I bought like some just beginner level equipment and started teaching myself. So just to be able to try to keep the workflow going so I'm not like out of the studio.
My entire Don't Crash was recorded on that, my album.
So amazing. Yeah, here, I'm gonna show you. Like I'm same shit, bro. Right there it is.
Word. You got the new version.
Is it?
The black. Yeah, the black.
Okay, word.
Focusrite. Listen, we're gonna need that Focusrite sponsor one day.
I know. Be able to plug it in. But yeah, so that's I've been doing like I've done a couple records where I just kind of like I don't do any production stuff, but I just did vocals for like a couple producers and stuff. But I just did it out of here, so I was able to teach myself, which I was happy about. So I knew how to do
Feels
fucking
good, right?
Yeah, dude, it feels great actually. Like it's like I'm like I have fucking self-worth now. But
I mean, you did before then. You had have a lot of good music. So
I appreciate it, man. Likewise. So where I mean, just I don't know, like taking things back to the beginning, like. Especially, I think it's going to be really cool, like, as you kind of, like, tell your story about where things started with you. I think we have a lot of parallels just being from the same area. Like, we know, the music venues, we went to the same college and stuff like that.
sure.
It'll be cool to hear about, I guess, where things started for you and, like, influences and stuff like that. Because we're not, how old are you? We're not too far from each other.
I'm 23, just
You're
turned
23, all right. So I'm 29. So it's like we're not super far, but
yeah.
It'll be cool to see some of the parallels. But, like, where did music start for you? Was it like, high school, before high school, college? Like, where did like writing down lyrics, writing songs, creating music, whether it's production, songs, whatever, where did that start for you?
I think I started like, I had FL when I was like 13.
Yeah.
So this kid at my school, like, he was like crazy music nerd, computer nerd, super nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, like I saw like Soulja Boy make a beat on FL, like when I was like 13, and I was like,
amazing.
Yo, I want to try this shit out. Like I think I can do this. And I was just a huge hip hop fan in middle school. Like just, Drake, Wayne, Lupe, Kanye,
Yep.
Big Crit, like they were all just like rotation all day. And J. Cole too. And he gave me a FL on my computer. I gave him my computer. He gave me a FL because I didn't know anything about computers at all. I still really don't. I just know my software. That's it. As soon as I leave software, I don't know what I'm doing. So, and I just started like playing around with it and watching YouTube tutorials and like making beats. And I was like producing a lot. And then I'd put tracks up on SoundCloud, YouTube, and people started using them. Like everybody started rapping on them, and I was like,
wow,
damn, maybe I could be a producer. And then I started doing the production thing heavy, and then there came a point where it was like people stopped using my beats, and I was like, maybe my beats aren't as hot as everybody says they are. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I got to college because I was always writing. Like I always wrote lyrics, but like I never was like, like rapping takes like a certain level of like, and just anything, singing, rapping, just putting yourself out there takes a certain level of like confidence and like understanding how good you are at something. And it took like, I was 18 in college to like really get like something recorded down that was like actually good. And people I was with at college, because I was just looking for the rappers on campus, and SSOHB being one of them. I met him, and I met Toland. He's a producer of mine, and we just like they were like, yo, you need to like keep rapping. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're nice with the lyrics. I'm like, I'm always writing. I just don't know like how I'm gonna sound on the beat or
Yeah.
something.
What to do with it? Yeah.
Yeah. And then like a year goes by, and then I'm like starting to drop stuff on SoundCloud regularly and like really adapt to like what's going on sonically. So just because 2015 and 2016 is kind of like the years where I was like, they were the growth years.
Yeah.
So I had like it doesn't seem like it was that far away. It wasn't. It's like 5 years ago. But like I had like If You're Reading This and like Crazy Rotation. That was like a huge like inspiration to me.
Yeah.
Like when I started rapping, like just as far as like recording goes, I was like, damn, I want to be this nice. I want to sound this clean. So how can I get my vocals like that dope? So
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's like, it's so funny. Like, I was just like thinking, like, as you were naming projects and like artist names, like time periods, like I was thinking, because, like just with our, however, like 4 or 5 years apart we are in age, like when you're like, If You're Reading This was in heavy rotation for you. For me, like if we put it on like a Drake timeline, because I feel like that could be such like a, I don't know, it's such like you match moments up to like, at least for me, like I'm a big Drake fan. Like I'm not like, I used to be a huge Drake fan. Like
you
back,
like that album?
see, that's the thing. And like when you mentioned it, that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, I never really probably gave that project like a huge chance. I was more of like, I love Take Care. I love like, I really even like Thank Me Later, even though that gets a lot of just like, it's very glossy commercial type, like it's a label album. But I love like Take Care. I love like, even though it's like a bunch of songs that were already out, Care Package, like just
Sure.
slow, underwatery, like emotional, singy type shit.
I hear that in Purple Heart a little bit. Well, a lot of I hear the emotional singing part a lot.
I appreciate that. But yeah, but like when you said if you're reading this, I was putting myself in like chronological Drake projects. I was like, well, I'm a few years behind since our age gap. Like I'm more like a Take Care guy, but you're like if you're reading.
I feel like I'd be wrong if I said If You're Reading This isn't my favorite Drake project. Like I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. So it's definitely my favorite.
You saying that, I need to go back and give it like a full like actual chance because
everybody discredits it because the whole Meek Mill
Ghost. Yeah, Meek Mill has such a piss poor attempt at trying to like dethrone him, and he just got shit on.
Listen, writers need to eat too. That's like Songland.
Dude, straight up, like it's so insane. I think that was one of the first times, like just like the business of songwriting, and like when that first came out as like a public topic was that time where it's like, oh, Drake doesn't write all his own shit. It's like, you understand, like Drake is the biggest artist, if not like one of the biggest, if not the biggest artist in the world. You better believe he has like some of the best songwriters. It's like it's a collaboration thing. Like it's like I'm sure you collaborated, like you and a couple homies get in the studio and like or get in your room or wherever, and you just like bounce ideas off each other. That's the same thing that happens. They're just like some of the best in the world to do, and it's a business. Like you give a good idea, you contribute this lyric, you get a writing credit. It doesn't mean like you fucking wrote the whole shit. People just don't. They jump to conclusions that people don't understand. Like. I feel like
also like producers too get like they get a writing credit. So it's like, and a lot of people like see that as like I'll be talking to people and they'll be like, well, so and so wrote this. I'm like, oh well, that's T minus. Like he's a producer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Just because we're like in the know about that stuff.
Yeah.
When you look at the credits and when people are talking shit, like I think in my head, I'm like, you're a dumbass. This is actually, like you said, like, oh, that's T minus, or this is 40, or this is like Louis Bell, or whoever that who it's who.
Yeah.
But like, who are some of your biggest influences? I know you rattled off a whole bunch of names earlier, just because like, and I mentioned earlier as well, you rap in the pocket so well.
Thank you.
Like, and even with that, your melodies are fucking like always on point. It's like you have such a good, of course, man. Like you have such a good mixture of like. And actually your song Jukebox is a great example of that. Like you have and like on the show, like I watched it on Monday, like you have such a catchy hook where it sticks in your head, then you kind of like flawlessly start flowing in the pocket, and it's almost like it's choppy, but it's smooth at the same time. Like where do you get those like flavors? Like what are your influences that created that in your sound?
I mean, definitely for like a song like Jukebox, like Biggie is definitely like the way I entered the rap, like definitely with that type of like
Yeah.
cadence and energy.
Yeah.
But like just going back in time, like I definitely like Eminem and Hove were like big for me, like when I was young, like super young, because like that was the only like rap that I knew of, pretty much. Up
Yeah.
until like middle school, I think I got like a Tony Hawk Downhill Jam, like like PS2 game, and it had Kick Push in it by Lupe, and I was like,
Yes.
oh, this is wild. This man told a whole story. Like, there's other rap. Like, what is this? There's other rap than Eminem and Jay-Z. Like, I need to check
Yeah.
this out. And then I found Friday Night Lights by J. Cole, and that was like,
Wow.
I was sold on that. I was sold on So Far Gone. I was sold on so much stuff. Lil Wayne. It's just, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like all those projects and names, like they mean so much to me too. And like, that's why, like, when you started rattling off those names, projects, like, especially like, I feel like, I don't know, like, trying to figure out how to word this, but we come from a generation where, like, even though I'm 29 years old, like, we're still kind of in the same phase where, like, the stuff that was like some of the first hip hop we were exposed to might not have been like the Tupacs and Biggies, and
For
uh,
sure.
it was more so like the Drakes, the Kanye is
Sure.
like, I know obviously Jay-Z, or like the Big Sean, Kid Cudi's, like those are the people I look when I think of, like, okay, when's the first time, or even like Ludacris and stuff like that, like when is the first time I really was exposed to hip hop, or like listened to it on rotation, whether it was like at the gym or on the bus or whatever. It was like the Kid Cudi's, the Drakes, the Kanye's, the early Big Sean's, like the Mac Millers, you know what I mean? It was that type of stuff. And
I
like,
can definitely hear the Kid Cudi with you.
no, I appreciate that, dude. I just love melody. Melody's so fun.
Yeah,
Like,
I hear that. I don't hear the sound, but I hear the vibe, like the tone, the emotional tone that's set that you set on a lot of your music kind of has the Cudi vibe.
oh, I appreciate you realizing that, man, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fire.
Yeah, dude. I mean, when I listen to those guys, like, that's, I don't know, you get all like in the feels, so to speak. It's like you feel a certain way. You're really connecting with the music. But yeah, no, I just got like a certain, as you were rattling off names and projects, I'm like, fuck yeah, like me too, yo, me too.
Yeah.
And I know, obviously you're an independent artist, and I think, you're open about that. Not like you're like trying to like hide behind the curtain of like a secret partnership or something. Like, you're an independent artist, and like, I think that's more so, we're in a generation now where I think almost that's like an aspect of a brand. Like, that's part of your brand, is being an independent.
They're almost like essential now. If
Absolutely.
you think about it. If you have, like, I saw you got booking recently. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. That was fucking huge. People don't realize how big it is, but it was
that is giant, because when all this COVID shit goes away and you're back to doing shows, like, that's like, after what I saw in December, like, that's a big move. Like, just to have that booking going into your next tour is going to be wild. It's going to be way more wild than it was like back in December. And I thought that was crazy. So
appreciate that, man. Yeah, that was, again, like, that's something like a lot of people, I don't know. It's just like the normal listener, like, they think, oh, like a record deal. Like, it's not, like, for me, when I still remember having conversations with like friends and my fiance and stuff. Can you hear me, by the way? Okay, word. No, it's all good. I saw it was loading there. Can you hear me now?
You back?
I'm back. Are you back? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Instagram, man. But what was I gonna say? Oh, like, a lot of like the average listener doesn't necessarily. They don't necessarily see what some of the actual valuable parts are. Like, when you mentioned like booking, obviously you being an artist and an independent artist, you understand the value of that. Like, the average listener, like, I remember talking to my fiance and like friends and stuff, and they're like, oh, like, what's something you're aiming for by the end of the year, or whatever. I was like, I need a booking agent. You know what I mean? As opposed to like some people be like, oh, well, you want to sign to a label, right? It's like, no. I need a booking agent so I can get on like festivals, and I can get on bigger tours, and I can have assistance with booking.
And you don't, like, a lot of people don't understand like how how freaking great it is to own your catalog, like to just
Oh,
have a
yeah.
catalog of music. So like a lot of my friends that have huge catalogs, like Dubby Got Bars, like huge catalog.
He is so fucking talented. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely, everything he puts out is fire, bro. And
Everything.
his melodies are nuts. Like I can't hit those notes.
You were the one who told me what his nickname Trap Bellion, or is that what
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
But that's such a fucking accurate like description of him. Though.
It is. It is. He just can float into that pop like realm without being pop. Like
Yeah.
it's interesting though. Like he's an interesting artist because like when I'm with him, he like listens to like Dirk and like Fat Trail and like
Wow.
yeah, like a bunch of drill artists and like
I wouldn't expect
a lot of Lil Wayne too. Like he doesn't really listen to like the style of music that he does, which is like crazy. Because honestly, what can you compare him to? Because I can't. I never can. I'm like I don't know what. You're his own pop.
I hear certain like notes that he hits that are like John Bellion-ish, but like that's
The style though is not the same. It's
no, not at all. Not at all.
He got his own thing going.
Absolutely. No, he's literally like, it sounds so cliche to say, but like he's literally created his own sound. Like, absolutely.
For real. But
how did you meet him initially?
oh, that's a long ass story, but there's a show in Gettysburg. My freshman year of college, this girl lived on our like floor or something and was like, she knew me and SSO were making rap music, and she was like, yo, my older brother raps and he has a show tonight in Gettysburg at the Moose Lodge, and y'all should come and like network and shit. And I was like, word, we'll come through.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy. So we get there and there's like hella underage drinking happening. Like it was not like, wasn't policed at all. Like I was drinking, like, and I was like 18, and I was like, W was drinking. I don't know what age he was at the time, but like, I came there with like a flash drive of beats because I was just a producer at the time.
Yo, that's fucking smart as shit though. Like you're like calculating, man. You're showing up with fucking flash drives and shit.
Facts. And then I talked to him after the show, and that's like how it happened. And then a lot of time went by, and I dropped my album Don't Crash, and he was like, you were the same kid that gave me beats. Like he had texted me. It was like, yo, there's a whole conversation in my phone from 2015. I didn't even know it. Like in 2015. He's like, this shit's crazy. Like I knew who you were, but I didn't. I was like, word, bro. Like, and then I went to Atlanta and worked with him, and yeah, it's been fire since. We got a few more in the cut too. So
that's so insane. Wow. That's such a fucking small world. Holy shit.
For real, it is.
That's so wild, dude. When you guys go, I know you were down at that like, when you like rented a cabin and basically had like.
Oh, that was so fire.
If I can fucking finesse an invite, I'm fucking there next time you guys do that.
Word.
I would love to do that. Dude,
it was like so, like every room was a different like song being made at the same time.
That's so beautiful.
I think I'm on like 6 or 7 records, like officially. Like I did like 14, but like obviously like some didn't get finished or whatever.
Yeah, they're just ideas and concepts. Yeah.
Yeah, you just walk into a room like, I think you could hit this melody like this. Like you could spit like this. Like somebody spits, somebody's making a beat, somebody like. And it was just great connections. Like I'm connected with all of them now, so it's like.
That's so cool. That's fucking awesome.
Super dope.
So like being an independent artist, what are some of the, like we mentioned a couple like great talking points. Like what are some of the biggest challenges that you've experienced as an independent artist?
Definitely breaking through that that glass of like between having a career and not, essentially.
Yep.
And that's what it is for everybody. Like I'm not in a boat alone, you know. We're all like in
oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's definitely what it is. Like obviously I want to, make money, and I want to like, I don't want to go to my day job. Like, you know what I mean?
Me either.
I put in 100% at my day job, but I'll put in 200% on music. You know what I mean? So
that's a great quote. I'm gonna steal that from you and you reuse that because that is a great quote. You worded that
But
perfectly.
it's true though. You would do it too. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's definitely the virus, like, terrible. The virus is terrible, but it definitely has put my mind in a different place as far as like I didn't realize how organized I could be with this. Like without having work, I've
Yeah,
gotten so organized with like setting my stuff up. It's not just like I'm gonna drop a song like a month from now or something in 2 months. Like we'll put it together and we'll deal with it then. And it's more like, okay, like here's all the art, here's all this, here's the music, laying it out. I think that's just the biggest challenge. Is just like having it not be your career like yet, you know?
yeah. No, like I totally know what you're talking about, man. Like it's something I think one of the biggest things, at least that I've noticed, is like when you don't have your 9 to 5, you're much more mentally freed up. So at least for me, like I'm mentally freed up to a point where, like, you know, where you talked about, like, I'm not just getting a rollout together a few weeks ahead of time of a song. Like I'm making sure like playlist pitching is good to go week time. Like if we're like making a custom Instagram filter for the song, or like sending
Yeah,
it to certain people, or, you know, registering it with sync, or, you know, whatever, you know, all the fucking bullshit that you got to do to just put a song out to get people to hear it.
you
It's
don't do that if you're at work overtime. You know?
exactly. It's like it's hard. Like, you know, you get home, you're fucking tired, and like the biggest thing that I've always found, like when you're physically tired, I feel like you're twice mentally tired. So
Yes,
it's tough. It's tough to like. It's just fucking tough to like try to come up with creative ideas, whether it's
absolutely.
making songs or like thinking of creative rollouts to get people to hear your shit. And like a lot of people don't realize that. Like it's super tough. I mean, any entrepreneur, you know, I'm sure like can relate to that. But I think when you're an artist, it's different because your creativity and stuff, you have to wait till it hits you. It's not like oh, I'm trying to start a business in, I don't know, finance or real estate. Like I can sit here and
Yeah,
creativity isn't usually isn't like a factor in like some entrepreneurial lanes, but
yeah,
in music it's so tough because, like I said, like that busy schedule, that 9 to 5, that fucking like sucks the creativity and energy out of you. And like you double down. At least for me, that's something I battled with for a long time. And I still, at the beginning of quarantine, when I like didn't have equipment to try to teach myself, and like I basically was just like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Because I can't record.
you
Like,
figured it out though.
yeah,
That's
yeah. I mean, like,
important.
it's a work in
That's
progress,
important.
but it's like it's something that I'm sure a lot of artists, like, I'm looking through the comments here. By the way, thank you everybody for hopping in and commenting. I try to keep up with what people are saying. If you have any questions, fucking submit those motherfuckers in the little question square at the bottom, and we'll get to those later. But I appreciate everybody hopping in. And I see a lot of artists hopping in that I recognize their names, and I'm sure they can relate to just like you said, like the whirlwind of a regular 9 to 5 or whatever just completely taxes your creativity and inspiration, and
For
it
sure.
can send you to like a dark place sometimes.
One thing that my job did help with was my drive to work is like 35 minutes, right? So producers, like, I think after I dropped Suicide Doors and Promoting Sounds picked it up,
Yeah,
I got put in a producer chat for like a lot of those guys. Like they've done Jerome's track too. So
I think he
um
might be in here. I think he just said something. Yeah, he's in here.
oh,
Jerome.
where
Yeah.
what's up, Jerome? Um yeah, so I've been talking to them, and this was like before the virus. They'd send me beat packs like literally like once every 3 days. I was getting beat packs, and I was like
That's
going
amazing.
in like on my drive to work. I would like come up with a concept or flow for the song, and by the time I'm like driving back 8 hours later, like I had like either like voice recording of it or like something like, and then I'd come up with lyrics, and then if when my off day came up, I'd have a song to record on one of the beats.
Dude,
So
absolutely.
that's
Another, like I said, I'm excited to, like, as we talk, just like think of like match up the parallels. I can relate to that like crazy. How many times I've probably been on the way to work at like 6 in the morning, and I'm fucking like typing like a hook idea on my
yeah.
phone
You gotta
while
get
I'm
up. You gotta
driving.
get up dumb early.
Yeah, Yeah, but like, you know, trying to like quick scribble down a hook idea or like record a voice memo in the parking lot before I walk in so I don't forget it. And yeah, that's wild. It's crazy shit, man.
It's what you gotta do, because when it just hits, like, you gotta just put it down somewhere.
Yeah.
So get some type of notion to keep it going.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, what, just being on the topic of being an independent musician, like, what advice do you have to independent musicians? Like, what are things that you've done that have worked well for you? Maybe things that you've tried and kind of have fallen on their face. What are some, you know, any independent artists that are in here, like thinking about like, what moves do I need to make? What can I do to try to further myself? What's your advice for those people?
I would say definitely don't listen to people who aren't successful independent musicians. So everybody always try to tell you like to sound like somebody, or like, now, like, people that are like not people in your circle, just people will like tell you what to do marketing wise, and they'll have any idea, like they've never done any of it. And I'm still new to a lot of that stuff too. But it's just, and also just keep like the pressure on, like, always, and not the pressure on like social media or anything like that. That's part of it, but just like the pressure on your craft too, just wanting to get better, because it's just important to just have all that stuff not only lined up, but just applying the pressure as far as like what like, how are you going to get better at your craft, and how are you going to push the craft, how are you going to, like, what pocket does this song go in, what pocket does, like, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly
So
what you're talking about.
it's less of like just like being a good artist, and it's like more of like you're on it with the booking. Like, that's I need to make that my next goal. But
I'm here to help you with whatever I can too, man. Like,
thank you.
always want to be a resource to anybody that's looking for any type of help wherever.
But yeah, just like, it's all kind of like a building thing, and you learn more every day about, you know, how to advertise your music, how to what people are actually listening to versus like what's engaging them more, like your fans more, and how to, you know, feed that as well as not take away from yourself while feeding that is like definitely a good thing for independent musicians to have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Those are all fucking gems that anybody that's in that lane trying to figure it out. I mean, I feel like you really need to listen to yourself, and really that's it, unless you have somebody else, like you said, like in your circle that, you know, maybe you have somebody, a producer that you came up with or anything like that. Because I know you kind of have like, you almost have like a collective of dudes that you're always kind of working with.
Absolutely. Amazing Collective.
Say again, what's it called?
Amazing Collective.
Amazing Collective. There we go. Plug it in, man. I mean,
we're kind of dumb for not starting it like earlier out the gate, but we got an Instagram page now. We're just trying to like get it up and running, as far as like we're all making hella music together. We've had like hella meetups and stuff.
That's amazing.
So
Literally, that's amazing. There we go. No pun intended. That's amazing.
It's the name is actually our acronym for us. Like, it's our name.
That's crazy.
Michael
plug in the Instagram handle so anybody in here can go follow it.
It's at Amazing Collective. We only got one post up right now, but we're gonna run it up soon. But
one thing I want you to realize too, man, like, that is so fucking awesome. Like, don't ever, and I know you won't, I feel like I need to say it, like, don't ever take that for granted, having like a collective of like-minded people that you can bounce ideas off of, that you continuously work with. And I talked about this in I think like the first episode I did this, and I talk about this with people all the time. Like, if you have a group of like-minded people that understand like common goals and have a work ethic that is matching or harder than yours, or they have a better work ethic than you can move mountains that way. Like,
sure.
That's the way you do those monumental things, is when you have a collective of people. And for me personally, like, I never had that. Like, coming up, that was probably like just trying to like put myself, like, kind of turn the clock back and think about some of the things I struggle with, like and still struggle with, like trying to like come up and make this a full-time career. Like I never had like, and I talk about this with my fiance all the time. I never had like, when I was feeling down on myself, I never had like that music friend that was as invested in it as I was, to say like, yo, let's, or like, I never had that person to get in the studio with that was as amped about like a new song idea as I was. I was always like alone. So it's like, it's so fucking awesome that you have that collective, because when I'm sure like there's been plenty of times.
Thankful for it. I'm hella thankful for it.
Yeah, dude, that's so amazing.
Like we all take off in our own like direction too, but we're able to like come back and regroup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
and if they weren't there pushing me along, like I probably wouldn't have done a lot of that I've done. So
that's awesome.
Guidance, telling me what's whack, what's not. You know what I mean? Where I can put the song, where we can go with the song, type deal.
Yeah.
So,
and they're in it, so you know their opinions like hold value. It's not like it's not like your random friend that's a good friend but doesn't really know anything about music.
Yeah.
Like, not that their opinion doesn't mean anything, but you know, somebody that's in it doing it, like, you know, working on the craft, their opinion is more valuable than, you know, Joe Blow that doesn't really know much about, you know, the art or creativity of it.
For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, that's I keep wanting to say amazing and then I fucking catch myself. But that is amazing. And that even kind of plays off like another piece of advice to independent artists, like find like-minded people and fucking team up. One of the big things like that I always had the mindset of, I'm like, especially like, you know, we're from the same like local scene, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people focus heavily, and dude, this happens in every local scene, but I feel like a lot of people focus heavy on like the competition of it. And it's like, yo, there's enough spots for everybody. Like,
for sure.
Why are you sitting here like?
Oh, I'll never compete like market wise, because that's literally for everybody. Absolutely. But like, if I'm in a cipher, it's competitive.
You know absolutely. Yeah, like, absolutely. It's like if there's, you know, like if I drop a record and like next week an artist I know in the area drops a record, of course I want to fucking blast you out of the water, of course. Facts. However, like I don't want you to do bad. Like I'm not going to sit here and like wish ill will on you.
For sure. I'm the same way. People
get caught up in that. I think that's a lot of people when you talk about like getting caught up in your local scene and never leaving. I think they get caught.
I stopped reposting lists. I always get lists. Like I always get added in lists. In like top 10 lists or top 5, and I'm like, and it's like a Lancaster list, and it's like, yo, y'all are like you just grouped a bunch of ones together. You know what I mean? You grouped a bunch of great artists in their own pocket, like together. Like we didn't have to make this list at all. And plus you're leaving out 20 other people that are super dope and can have a career. Like just because, I don't know. I'm over that whole.
Yeah, I feel like it would only breed negativity when that type of stuff. I mean, it's always fun. I remember when that was, I don't know how many months ago, that was like a phase to like put out a list of your area. Because I remember I found like one list somewhere and I wasn't on it. And of course that like fucked up my whole afternoon.
Yeah.
Like, why am I not on this list? This is bullshit. And I'm like, why am I even freaking out about something so minuscule?
You got fans, you got a brand. You're your own lord. That's the way absolutely. So
I want to get into Songland, man, because this is like, it was so cool. Like I made sure like I rushed home from my parents' house on Monday night, or I can't remember where we were. I think we were at my fiance's parents' house, and I was like, well, I want to get home and make sure I watch this, because like, you know, you watch like, can you hear me, by the way? I don't know, you got the loading circle.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah, you had the little spinning wheel of death around you.
Yeah, it's all that
word. But so I said, you know, I'd love to get into talking about Songland stuff, because it's just such like, it's such like a unique thing, and it's such a cool experience. Like I felt like I was living vicariously through you as I was watching you. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
There we go. Sorry. But yeah, so like it was something that it was really cool to see you up there, and like, you know, seeing so many shows like that in the past. Is the audio's fucking.
You hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's like way up.
All right, word. Well, hey, let me make this short. I'm rambling, and the more I ramble, the more the connection gets poor. So I'll make it short and sweet. Um, because I remember we talked. Son of a bitch! I think it's doing it again. Give it some time here. See if it loads back in.
My bad.
No, you're good, man.
I'm pretty sure it's my Wi-Fi. To be
No worries, man. No big deal. I figured this stuff would happen. It's not a big deal.
how it is.
But so I remember one of the last times I talked to you, you were telling me that you either had applied to Songland or you were waiting to hear from him. So like, what was that moment like when you found out that you were going to be on Songland? Like, take me through, like, put me inside your mind.
I think I knew the day like or two before our show in Lancaster that I opened up for you at.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to keep it all like super duper secret. But it was it was like a year of like waiting around. Not a year. It was like 8 months of like waiting around because I had some interviews in the last summer and I was like, whoa, like I got interviewed. My girlfriend asked me to like sign up and my parents did too. And they were like, why are you not on the show? And I was like, cause like, I'm a hip hop artist. Like they're not going to, why would they pick me like for a pop music show? Like it makes no sense. They're like, you write pop music too. Like what's up with it? Like do this, fill it out. And I filled it out and had an interview like 2 weeks later. I was like, damn, that's fast. Like I didn't think like, and I took the interview and then I took another interview and then I was waiting around for like a month and I had no idea like what was going on. Anything.
What?
Yeah. And then in the winter they hit me up and they were just saying like, they were sending me a bunch of other stuff that I don't think I can talk about. But yeah, I just stayed super low key about it. And January came around and they flew me out to film. And I didn't tell anybody that I was like, after they told me that they picked me, I like didn't tell a single soul because I was literally like, well, first off, the emails they said like, don't tell anybody. So I was like,
yeah,
I literally
don't want to ruin it. Don't say shit.
Yeah, facts. I literally didn't want to tell anybody. So I didn't for like 2 weeks. And then I wanted to make sure like I had those plane tickets in my hand, you know what I mean? To like say like, this is real, you know what I mean? And that was like, when that came along, then I obviously told the people very close to me what was going on because I'm going to be away for like some time. So
yeah. How long were you out there filming?
Just a week, little under a week actually, but
that was probably an awesome week though.
Super dope. I was in Universal Studios, so like that was my first time there, and it wasn't on tour, like on a tour in it. So it was just so weird to be like part of it. So definitely
That's so cool, man. I mean, like after all that anticipation, like when you finally had the tickets in your hand, what did that feel like? It was just like accomplishment, or like what? You know, I'm sure there was
it felt like it was like real, like actually gonna happen. You know what I mean? Because I don't think the words like "you're going to be on Songland" like ever appeared anywhere until like that moment. So it was definitely like a crazy moment of like, I didn't believe it the whole time. I was like, I'll believe it when I have it. That's like something I always say that. That's like always my thing. Like I'll believe it when I get it. You know what I mean?
Like don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, people gas it up all the time. Like people gas things up. Like you're gonna blow up. You're gonna do this. I'm like, listen, there's a lot of work to be done. Like before that happens, you know. So, I mean, you probably get the same thing. So it's like a lot of not me second guessing myself at all. Like I felt like after the interview, it was definitely possible, but I was definitely like, there's definitely a huge probability that I won't be on it. So I'm not going to say anything until it happens. So
how amazing is it though when you like you don't second guess yourself and you like prove yourself right? You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's such. I can't think of a better feeling than that when you kind of like bet the cards on yourself and you tell yourself like, I know this is going to happen, and then you kind of like flash forward to having those plane tickets in your hand, you're like, holy fuck, like this actually worked out.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it was
amazing.
wild.
Man.
And when I
Shit.
saw the guest names, when I saw the guest names for the show, I was like immediately like in a whole other like mind state. I was like, holy cow, these are like this is better than last season of Songland. And I didn't have TV too. That was another thing in the interview. I think I said like, they were like, what did you think of season 1? And I was like, to be honest, I didn't watch because I was at college and I don't have cable. Like, we watch Netflix or Hulu. And honestly, I don't do either of those things. I don't even watch Netflix. I just make music.
Yeah,
So,
dude, I don't watch TV either. If I watch anything, it's like musician interviews on YouTube, try to like soak up game.
or Joe Rogan podcast, right?
Or Joe
Do you like
Rogan.
Joe Rogan?
I'm Joe Rogan. I like Joe Rogan. There's a podcast called Impact Theory that's really good. You should check that out if you haven't. There's a dude me and my fiance really like and follow. His name's Ed Milet. He's like just like one of those like entrepreneurial dudes that like is like self-made and like fucking hella rich. And then they talk about like, mindsets and stuff like that. That they went through to be able to experience success in their fields. But you bringing up like the guests, that's actually like there isn't a more flawless segue into like the next question I have for you. Which songwriter or artist, or you had the panel of people in front of you as you performed Jukebox. Who were you most hyped to like get feedback from?
You mean like on the stage?
Yeah, so like there was like Ryan Tedder, Boyz II Men, Esther Dean. Yeah,
definitely like Boyz II Men in general, legends, goats of singing in general.
yeah.
But I think I was really looking for that validation from Ryan and Esther, because like Esther, I had an interview this morning and I talked about that. Like, my middle school iPod has like it still does to this day, has like 4 or 5 Esther Dean songs. Not featuring or written by Esther Dean, like Esther Dean. You know what I mean? Her actual solo music.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. And also like One Republic, like if you didn't know who One Republic was, you know what I mean? Like, I just think it was nuts to be in front of them, you know what I mean? It's like a crazy moment from the past to think like I was on the school bus like listening to, like, you know what I mean? It's just...
Dude, totally, man. It's like that was the biggest thing. Like when I was watching you perform the song and then getting the feedback, I was like, man, I wonder who like he was most like fucking amped to be like, oh shit, like Ryan Tedder is about to give his feedback to me. I can't wait to like, hear what he has to say. Like for me, Ryan Tedder is like, in terms of like, you talk about goats, like songwriters, dude, I was telling you, I was watching
Halo. He wrote Halo. Like, that's so crazy.
Like, it's insane to like. I was watching with my fiance, and I can't remember if she like didn't know who Ryan Tedder was or whatever. And I was explaining, I was like, well, obviously he's the lead singer of One Republic, but I was like, I feel like he just speaks in like Grammy-winning melodies because it's like,
For real.
it's insane. It's insane to watch. Like, they do this to every song that is presented to them, but like the way they kind of workshop on the fly like that, it's insane.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing about the show. Like, they really, I don't know if they make notes beforehand or whatnot, but they really be on the fly like that with the melodies. It's insane.
Insane.
I was literally just talking about that with my sister. I was like, yo, it's crazy to think like Ryan Tedder just like be riffing like that. Like when I'm trying to like find a melody, it's ass. You know what I mean? Like, he's so nice with it. It's crazy. So
yeah, it takes you like hours to come up with the melody that you're like, all right, this is all right, and then it takes Ryan Tedder like 5 seconds to freestyle a melody that's better than anything you ever heard.
But freestyling is like once you get a grip of that art of freestyling, like that's the key, really. Like, look at Juice WRLD. He never wrote anything down.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely. Now, like, what do you have planned? Like, 2020 obviously has a little bit of an asterisk next to it because of everything that's going on now. like, what do you have planned for the rest of the year?
Definitely dropping a lot of music for sure. So, I have somewhere between 20 and 30 in the tuck, and like 10 that are, like mastered, ready to go right now. So, a lot of singles. I don't have a project right now, but I'm really focused on singles right
It's a singles game, bro. It's a singles
now.
game.
For sure. Definitely is. So, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on for right now. Just trying to build off of that. I think what I have is like, um, it's definitely it definitely could be has the potential to be some life changing music. I feel like so,
That's awesome.
which
Hell
is
yeah, man.
feels good. So, what
I
about
mean,
you?
you have, well, I'll get into me in a second. I'm
Yeah,
just like, you have such, and I appreciate you asking, by the way. You have such an immense amount of momentum right now. I feel like, I mean, have you had momentum like this going forward ever in your career before?
not really. I mean, definitely promoting Sounds Cosign was lit.
Yeah,
So, um, and there's
absolutely.
been some other things like in between that. So it's definitely weird. Like sometimes sometimes it gets weird to like look at the follower count on IG, and you just gotta like let that go because there's so many people that have been supporting me the last few days, and I'm like, this is like this is fucking real, and it's like so organic, and it's so amazing, and it's so like I don't know. Sometimes like I got a few DMs from people that are like huge, and it's frustrating, you know what I mean? Because you're like here, and they're like, and you're like, well, how can you close this gap? How can you up here close this gap? And reality is
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you got to do a lot of the work yourself. Like a
yeah.
lot of artists don't realize that. So,
Can you
um,
can you hint at who any of those magical DMs were? If you
I
want to,
don't want to.
if you want to keep it private, no worries. I just figured
I
I would.
do want to keep it private because one thing might actually go through. So,
That's amazing, dude. That's awesome. I mean, it's like that's such an awesome culmination of just like you're making music out of your fucking bedroom, like in a home
that,
studio, like a microphone that isn't some like thousands of dollar microphone. Like it's as organic as it gets. And when you build that type of momentum organically and have an outside push, and now it leads to like you said, these people that are huge and established reaching out and like just establishing contact with you, like if that doesn't show you or people that
yeah.
might tune in after I post this that are
I always
artists
question,
themselves.
too, like, I always question too, like, how to get. Well, obviously with Songland, there's some things on how I can get into people's hands, but sometimes I really question, like, where did they hear? Like, you know what I mean? It's really
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I don't have millions of streams yet, you know, and
yeah.
it's like how
Keyword
like
yet. Keyword yet.
yeah. So it's definitely like it's huge to think like your song, somebody vibed with your song that was like not of the norm. You know what I mean? Like somebody outside of like just your fans. You know
Yeah,
that whole structure. So
yeah.
I,
Amazing. That's so awesome, man. I'm like so excited. Like I said, I don't have a mindset that like there's only so many spots for people, but I'm so excited to watch people that I respect the music that they make and like
thank you.
you're just a good like you're a good dude. You're like it's like you're not an asshole, like you're a good dude. It's like there's no reason for anybody to like wish ill will upon what you're doing. So it's so exciting to like not only have the energy of like I'm obsessed just like you are. It's like I'm obsessed with the grind of it. I'm obsessed with the business aspect of it and just trying to grow and grow and grow. It's so cool to have that within myself and it's so cool also to like watch somebody else like yourself that, like I said, it's like we're from basically the same area, we went to the same college. It's like fuck yeah, I want that dude to win. Like
Yeah.
it's so cool to watch. And I think that really like it breathes life into an area. Like I feel like at least for what I've seen, like, in terms of making posts of you been on Songland and stuff like that, and even just sharing the music before that, like, there's other artists in the area that have that same mindset where we're all rooting for each other, like Laddie, great
Yeah.
guy, like, even though
Sure.
W is from Gettysburg, great guy, where it's like,
Yeah.
we're all rooting for each other. Like, we all want
Yeah.
each other to win.
Big
So
fact.
it's so cool. And like I said, when you can put a big W in the win column of being on a national televised show like fucking Songland, everybody's like, that's our fucking guy. Like, fuck yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, the amount of like, I didn't know like which way it would sway, positive or negative, but like it was almost all positive. You know, I try not to like read comments because like people tell me like don't read comments, blah blah blah. But like it's so it was so overwhelmingly positive. Like people vibe with what I do, and that was like a big moment to like say, wow, I overthink way too much. And also just to say like, you know, just I got to keep working at this, keep getting better because people are gonna watch now. So it's
Yeah, absolutely. It helps provide like a big moment of just all around like pure gratitude for you to feel.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Like, and you know, one of the last questions I have for you, I know, so you've been dating the same girl for several years, am I right?
Yeah, a little over 2.
A little over 2 years. Okay. So like, what role? Because like, I've been with my fiance for like 10 years, and like she's literally been there since like the
The
ground level
beginning,
of
right?
ground level. What's that?
The beginning, right?
Yeah, like literally the beginning, like scribbles in a notebook, fucking beginning.
That's crazy.
And like what type of role does she play in your life in terms of like support, um in like, you know, because doing something like that we're trying to do, it can be really taxing on a relationship in terms of like time spent doing this and, you know, certain choices and priorities. Like what, and we have like a minute and 50 seconds, so like before the Instagram live goes out. I guess we've been on it for an hour. Damn.
Yeah, crazy.
But I guess what kind of role does she play?
She is super supportive, and she's always been of it all the time. And yeah, she's my best friend. So like, it's like,
Beautiful.
yeah, it's just crazy to think like she's been rocking with the music. You know, she tells me when stuff's good. You know, and stuff's like she wants me to do this so bad because she knows it makes me happy. So it's like
That's the key right there, man. Amazing.
so, but yeah, she definitely is. I'm definitely into the role of like her being like my best friend in all of this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, we have a minute remaining before the IG live cuts out.
word, I was worried it was gonna cut out while I was speaking there. So
Oh, sorry. What, did it cut out?
word. Oh no, it didn't cut out. But I'm saying like,
Okay, sorry. No, yeah, we have like 55 seconds remaining, so I guess I was gonna close it out, but there's a little glitch in the Wi-Fi there. But so in closing here, we got like 45 seconds before this time's out, which is super lame, but because I could talk to you for fucking hours. This is Wavves Wednesday, episode 3. This is Charles Infamous,
we need a song.
phenomenally talented artist from Lancaster. He was just on NBC Songland on Monday. As the time ticks out on his IG Live, please remember to check him out. Check out his music, stream his stuff on Spotify. I'm extremely talented. Just dropped a new single, Jukebox, that was on Songland. So I appreciate you taking the time to fucking like chop
Thank
it
you.
up. It's always great to
I
connect.
appreciate
I need to text you
all
more.
your kind words. For real, appreciate all the kind words about me and my artistry. I feel the same about you. Your branding and your sound is spectacular. Like people need to see you live. They don't know what's going on.